Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hello, Start Before You're Ready community. I am here today to give you some really practical advice. And the reason why I chose to do this episode today is because I have had some of the most incredible one-on-one assessments over the past few weeks. And I want to start by saying how honored and privileged I feel that people are so willing to share things that they're struggling with and that they reached out for help, because that is truly my passion. And yes, I run a business. Yes, I'm trying to sell more memberships to my studio. Of course, but not really. It lights me up far more to know that when people feel stuck or they feel like they need help with their health and their fitness and they don't know where to turn, that they consider me to be a resource, whether it be my friends, my family, my community, people that I don't know. That is really important to me. And I'm very careful to stay in my lane with the information that I give. But I also feel like my experience in this field as a health and fitness professional for so many decades has really been valuable, because I am able to see what works and what doesn't work. And one of the things that I was noticing doing so many assessments all at once was, I'm like, man, I'm saying the same things I said 30 years ago. I'm saying the same thing, and not in a bad way, in a way that like, this doesn't really change. So I wanted to go back and if you are like, man, I wish I did an assessment with Kelly, reach out to me. I'll send you my calendar link. We will make it happen, whether it's a phone call or an in-person visit. We will make it happen if that's something you need. But here's my ask to you. Here's what I'm going to ask you. And I'm going to say this pretty seriously, and I hope I don't sound unkind. If you are going to ask me to take my time to meet with me one-on-one and to strategize, I'm not really telling you what to do. It's more you saying what you want to do and what you're not doing, and us strategizing a way to get you closer to what you want to do. That's really more of what it is. But then you're going to leave and not do anything. Don't bother, because you're not ready. And you need to commit to the fact that you're going to do something. I don't care if it's one little thing. I don't care if it's a once a week walk. I don't care if it's extra 10 grams of protein a day. It can be the littlest thing. But you've got to do something. You've got to take action. You can't just listen and absorb and then not do anything. This podcast is about taking action. I'm about taking action. I want to help you. And I know that the only way things are going to change is if you take action. So that's one thing that I wanted to say. And I tell people that, so as you guys know, we use the InBody, and I offer, when I do a free InBody, or really for new members, when I have a new member come and they do an InBody, I tell them, listen, I will gift you, my gift to you after about a month or 6 weeks is to get back on this InBody. I will consult you and I will give that to you as a gift as a new member. But if you're not going to track your protein in some way, or you're not going to make any changes, then don't bother, right? Like, if you're not going to do something different as far as your nutrition goes, then don't bother. I mean, yes, your workouts will make a difference, especially if it's someone that hasn't been working out at all. Their workouts will make a difference. But I've just learned over time how much getting your protein goal, I give people a specific protein goal based on the InBody report, and how much getting that number matters. And if they don't get it, or they're like, I get it sometimes, it's just really not worth getting back on. So those are the two things that I wanted to say. But moving forward, we're going to have this be more positive and upbeat. And this is actually this podcast, this recording is going to be information that you've heard before. I actually did 2 podcasts in the very beginning that have my tips, but this is going to be a little bit more rapid fire. Now I feel like the audience is a little bit different, and I'm thinking that one of these is going to resonate with you. And I would like you, my ask to you is that you share what tip resonated with you the most. So tip number 1 is change the way you identify yourself. And this goes back to me always hearing people say, I do really good when I have a plan or I'm on a diet or I'm in this certain mode of eating. Here's the thing. That makes sense. All diets work. We just can't follow them forever. If you want to do something that is really going to change your health, it has to be something that you can keep doing. If it's something that you're only going to do for a week or a month or 3 weeks or whatever it is, don't bother. Work on something that you can keep doing. That's really a really important tip. And there are exceptions to that. Like you might be using tools like fasting, or you might be lowering your sugar intake for a certain number of days to try to reset your palate. There are exceptions to that. But in general, think long term and not extreme. Think long term and not extreme. So this goes back to identity. And that's just every decision you make with your food. You have to think about like, what type of person do you want to be? Are you someone that's healthy-ish? Whatever it is that you determine. Are you someone that makes good decisions 80% of the time? Then you stick to that identity. Are you someone that only has dessert on Sunday afternoon? Then you stick to that identity. But you create, it's going to be a little bit more clear when we talk about the next thing, which is personal rules. But you really have to make a decision on how you want to be. And that goes to our next tip, which is create a list of personal rules. This is a conversation I had with a lot of people when we were doing assessments. Not everybody. It depended on where they were. Okay. So when I do a one-on-one assessment with someone, there's not, other than me listening to them and hearing what they're doing right now, what they think they're doing that's working, what they think they're doing that might be sabotaging them. Other than that, there's really no protocol. Some people I'm doing fitness. Some people I'm literally having them do deadlifts and squats and watching their form. We're talking about load and weight, and we're talking about things very specific to fitness. Other people, it's more about walking after a meal or getting more protein, that kind of thing. But the personal rules are really, really helpful for people that kind of feel like they don't know where to start. They're like a little bit overwhelmed and they're like, I don't know. I just need to change. Something needs to change. And I suggest that they just make a list of like 3 or 4 rules. And one rule could be, I'm going to work out X number of times a week, or I'm going to walk for I'm going to walk every day for at least 5 minutes. My personal rules are around sitting down when I eat. That's been a big one for me my whole life. Like if I come home and I'm starving and I'm anxious and I open and I eat, that does not sit well with me. I do not digest food well. I need to sit and eat. One of my rules is to put all food on a plate. And another rule I've shared with you before is that I have a vegetable in the morning, and that's kind of escalated to like 3 or 4 vegetables in the morning. It's kind of escalated to every meal, 3 or 4 vegetables, but it didn't start off that way. It started off that I didn't think I was having enough vegetables. And I thought if I have a vegetable in the morning, that's insurance. But ideally, that happens, guys. If you create a rule for yourself and it's something you can keep doing, then you can enhance it. And another thing that you can think about with your rules is bedtime. That is a big one. So a lot of you have talked about the podcast with Andrew. You really enjoyed it and appreciated it. And I think a lot of you could relate to some of the things that Andrew was saying, which I think is great. I think that's the whole point of this podcast is we want to have people on that don't necessarily all think the same and do the same and just look at things that work for certain people and certain personality types. And bedtime is a big thing for everybody. And I hear this a lot from my clients when we talk about what they want to work on. I often say their nighttime routine. So if that is something that you want to work on, I would create a personal rule around your nighttime routine. My personal rule is that I try to put my phone in the other room by 9:00 and that I'm in bed like shortly after. And that's a lot of times I teach at night, so I don't get home until 8:00 or closer to 8. So that's a little bit of a push to do all that way, but it works really well for me. Another personal rule that I have is I have to do something physical every day. I feel very anxious if I don't do something physical. It doesn't have to be a formal workout. Lately, to be honest, on my off days, I've been doing stuff around the house. I've been doing things like garage, basement, loading, moving stuff around. Stuff needs to get done. And I try to like save that kind of stuff for a day that I don't have a workout so I can kind of turn that into a workout. Another rule that I have is not wasting calories on foods that I don't love. And that's a rule I don't even need to think about anymore. I just don't even, for a while, I remember feeling guilty, like, oh, I can't leave this on my plate or feeling like that. But now it's funny to look back at my personal rules and be like, man, I don't even have to think about that anymore. Another rule that I have for myself is yoga once a week. And I have found that even when I don't go to yin, I have a little routine that I do. It's kind of like, okay, if I can't do that, then I have this little routine that I do. So I've been really, really consistent with that. So tip number 3, and we've talked about this many times before, and it's still worth talking about, guys. It's still worth talking about. It's stacking your habits. Okay. So if there is something that you want to do that you aren't currently doing, attach it to something that you already do. I'm going to use my example of taking supplements. In September, my community called me out and they said, Kelly, what's your goal for the month? Because every month I ask them to come up with a specific goal, something that they want to be accountable for. And I said, I want to be more consistent with taking supplements. I had just had blood work done and I felt like I had a better idea of what supplements I should be taking. And there were some that I actually it wasn't like a question mark. It was like, yeah, you need to take this. And I really wanted to be consistent with it to see if it worked because I was having blood work done again in 6 months. And I wanted to see if I start taking these supplements, will it work? And so I wanted to be consistent with it. So every Sunday since then, I load up my little case. It's got a morning and it's got a night. I take the magnesium at night and in the morning, after I brush my teeth, I leave it out, and I don't love to leave stuff out on my counter, so this is a big deal. I leave it out and I take it. Thursday is currently broken, so that is an issue. And I could buy a new one on Amazon for $2 and not have to worry about taking Thursday on Sunday so it doesn't spill but that is a different story. If you guys know what I'm talking about, the case broke, like the Thursday broke. So I really just need to throw it away and buy a new case, but I'm seeing how much longer I can use the broken Thursday. Another thing that I hear from people all the time is about water. And a really good one to do, and I will be honest, I'm definitely out of habit with this, but I was on the habit for a long time before I had my coffee in the morning to drink a full glass of water. I'm drinking water right now because I'm talking about water. I have to drink water. So attaching that to something that you already do. The other thing that I highly recommend is having water with your meals, and before you even eat, to drink your water and then to finish your water before the meal is over. That's a really easy way to get 8 to 10 ounces of water. One thing that I do when it comes to water in habit stacking is when I teach a class, I try to drink the entire water bottle. And if I don't, and I'm not in a rush or I don't have to go to the bathroom so bad, but as soon as I pull into my driveway, I finish the water bottle. So it's got to be like, it's attached to something. You pull into the driveway, you finish the water bottle. You finish dinner, you go for a walk. You finish, you before you go to bed at night, you write in a gratitude journal. You put on your walking shoes when you shut down your computer. Those are not what you need to do. You need to think about the habit that you want to do that you're not doing, and then attach it to something that you're already doing. Okay. I'd love to hear if there's something that you're working on with that. I'd love to hear about it. As you guys know, I believe that saying it out loud to another human being really increases your compliance with whatever you're trying to do. Because it's the craziest thing, but I'll think about like, oh, I told Kristen I was going to track, or I told whoever it is. It is amazing. It is amazing. If that's your personality, if you say it out loud to someone, you're much more likely to do it. If you can get somebody to kind of text you and hold you accountable that way, that can be super helpful. The next tip I want to give is food prepping, guys. And this is probably the most important thing. It really is. And it is because when you don't have good food ready, you make terrible decisions. And my thought on food prepping is people way overthink it. It does not need to be anything crazy. It does not even need to be more than a few things. If every week you do a couple of things that you want to eat more of, maybe it's a protein and a vegetable, maybe it's a kale salad from Costco, a batch up a kale salad from Costco, or you're like me, I make my broccoli slaw or my cabbage slaw. Those are foods that I know I want to eat, and I love when I have them ready. So I just make one a week and I eat it all week. And then the next week I might make a different one. Or if I'm feeling lazy, I'll do the kale salad from Costco. It might be roasted vegetables. I love having roasted vegetables in the refrigerator. That's such an easy one. And you can even do like multiple batches, use the same pan. It could be fresh vegetables. In fact, I have this whole thing I want to tell you guys about. We had a team dinner the other night, and I put out a tray of fresh cut vegetables, beautiful. I spent a long time making them look pretty. Nobody ate it. So I put them in containers, and for the next 3 or 4 times, I was actually traveling a bunch for lacrosse. I would just bring these fresh cut vegetables, and it made me forget. I'm like, I love peppers. I love mushrooms. I think I don't really like raw vegetables, but I do, but it's just not what I would go to unless they were already there. So if you're like me on that, have those ready to go. And if you want to make them yummy, you can do hummus or guac cup or even a little bit of a dip. One of my favorite things, Lindsay and I we brought it with us to Cameron's game and then gave the rest for Cameron so he didn't eat it. But is the Trader Joe's has the yogurt dip. It's like a spinach yogurt dip. That's a great convenience food. Just measure it out. I think 2 tablespoons has 30 calories. It's really not bad, but you don't want to eat the whole thing. You got to be careful with stuff like that. So make sure that you have foods that you like ready to go. Hard-boiled eggs are a great one. I love to have, so in my refrigerator, I love to have in little containers right out front, things like cooked chicken sliced. I have to have that because I can make a salad, I can make a dinner, I can make anything if I have that. I also like to have hard-boiled eggs because I love hard-boiled eggs, and it's just really easy. I can make avocado toast with it. And I can make, if I want to do just add a little bit of extra protein to a salad, or I want more than just chicken on my salad, or I'm doing a salad with shrimp or tuna, love to put a hard-boiled egg on it. I also love the Baby Bella cheeses or any little easy cheeses that are easy to grab, because then if you're having something like vegetables or something that's kind of plain, it gives you a portioned yummy, we'll call it. So those are all great foods to have ready to go in your refrigerator. I know a lot of people love their cottage cheese, their Greek yogurt. Those are great foods. If you want to prep a chicken salad, I've been making on my Real Food Fast, I did a chicken salad that I made with Greek yogurt. I was actually surprised how good it was. One time I made it with just Greek yogurt and Dijon mustard, and I was like, wow, this is way better than I thought it would be. So those are great foods to have on hand. Just things that are ready to go. And another suggestion when it comes to food prepping is when you clean up from dinner, put the food in containers. If there's just a little bit of salad left, I'll put the salad in a container and then I'll add some chicken to it. And then maybe if there's some potatoes or whatever. I like to combine my food. I'm my kids kind of make fun of me about it, but I have no problem eating like a little hodgepodge thing. In fact, that's like my favorite thing to eat, like a bunch of little different things, but putting it away that way makes it so easy. You're so happy the next day when you can pull that out and be like, oh, I have this ready to go. So that's another thing. Put them in nice glass containers, ready to go in front of the refrigerator or in the front of the refrigerator. And then also have emergency prepared foods ready to go. Like this week, this isn't really an emergency prepared food, but one of the things, Andrew was traveling all week and I didn't know the schedule. So I had frozen salmon in the refrigerator. So I took the frozen salmon out and I actually had it for dinner last night and lunch today. Tuna to me is an emergency food. So I also had tuna. I love that. I love that like I can just have something ready to go, easy. Pull it out of the freezer or the pantry. It's not necessarily, you're not thinking you have to use it up that week as far as your protein goes. This is actually a rare week where I did not cook chicken this week. Wow. I did not cook chicken this week. I'm actually cooking chicken today, but I did not cook it yet. Okay. So tip number 5 is your emotions around food. And I had a lot of conversations about this this week or those last couple weeks. Putting your food on a plate. This is huge. Okay. This is huge. And I think that a lot of people think they're eating a lot less than they are because they're eating out of their refrigerator or their pantry. And I really believe that if you put everything that you eat on a plate and you sit down and you enjoy it, you are going to move the needle when it comes to how much food you're consuming. So if that speaks to you about sitting down and eating your food and paying attention to how you're eating your food and giving yourself a plate rule, making effort to eat in a positive environment. I'm like that. If the kitchen's a mess, I go in the other room. I have a little room in my house, the front room. It's got a little table. I can't eat with I just can't. I feel stressed. So eating in a positive environment where there's not a lot of stuff going on is helpful. There's different thoughts on if who you eat with, right? Like eating with people that you enjoy. I know not everybody can control that, but I really think that is significant. I feel like when you have a longer leisurely meal with people that you enjoy, I feel like you just process the food better. That's just something that I've always felt. And then tip number 6 is about movement. So we already talked about this a little bit. Even if it's a non-workout day, how are you going to move? And I feel like people are way better about this now because of steps, people tracking their steps. And there's so much more awareness around movement. I know I on my day to day do not move, even with classes, even with being on my feet. I do not get 10,000 steps. And that's not necessarily the magic number. I feel like maybe one day you're going to get more, one day you're going to get less. But I'm just saying that if you have a more sedentary job or you're not a young parent, because young parents get a lot more steps than older parents, just because they're constantly doing for their kids or running up and down the stairs, they're walking with their kids, they're doing stuff for their kids. You probably need to plan in your movement. It's probably not just happening. And then the next one, and this is so much more relevant now, but it's about protein, guys. And I feel like instead of just telling, now it's like protein's so overdone. Instead of telling you why you should eat more or that you should eat more protein, because that's just so overdone. Why does protein really matter this much? Why does it matter so much? And really the real reason that protein matters so much is, well, your body burns more calories just by digesting protein. The thermic effect of food, protein requires 20 to 30% of its own calories just to be digested and processed. So if you eat 100 calories of protein, your body only nets about 70 usable calories. So I always kind of question, like, why does protein matter so much? It should be like total calories, but it really isn't. Protein definitely makes a difference when it comes to weight management. So even if you're eating the same total food, a protein heavy day, you're going to automatically burn more calories. The other thing that protein does is it changes your hunger hormones. It suppresses your ghrelin. And what that means is it tells your brain that you're not as hungry. I'm not sure if everyone feels this as much as I do, but if I eat something that doesn't have a lot of protein in it, I'm not satisfied. So I think you also maybe train your brain to do this, or you just notice it more if you're of the camp of eating more protein with every meal. And also the reason why is you're protecting your muscle. So if you are trying to lose weight, you don't want that to be muscle. So your high protein tells your body to hold on to the lean muscle and burn the fat. And since muscle burns more fat at rest, you're protecting your metabolism over time. I actually met with a woman today and we weighed the same, and her BMR was 1201 and my BMR is 1700. So what does that mean? It means that when you have more muscle, your basal metabolic rate is higher. So you get more food. So if you can increase your muscle and decrease your fat, you become a way more efficient burner. That's why that matters so much. And you can't compare. I don't like that I just made that comparison, because you can't compare people to people. Every body is different. It was just easy to explain it to her that way because we did weigh the same. And for certain people, they have a hard time understanding. They really don't believe that the protein is that important. And what we've seen time and time again for people that are trying to make body composition changes specifically, the protein matters way more than we could describe. And the food guide pyramid is now changed. And I think that's a good thing. I don't like some of the things around it, but in general, everybody's grasping the fact that like we do need to prioritize protein. And I think it's for all age groups. I don't just think it's for people in their 50s and 60s. I think it's for all age groups. And I think that if you can train yourself to think that way, like when you're eating a meal, thinking, what's my protein? We're going to get into that next. But that's just really going to move the needle long term. We're talking about things that are going to last long term. So tip number 8, PFF is your BFF. This is my favorite saying. I'm going to say it until the day I die. Protein, fat, and fiber. Those are the foods that you need to think about when you're planning your meals and snacks. And you're going to need to make sure that you're including all 3. It's the key to weight management. It helps with blood sugar. It makes you feel full for longer. It allows for simple eating. Like you don't need to think about it. It's like, okay, I'm going to have broccoli, avocado, and chicken. Right? There's my protein, there's my fat, there's my fiber. It could certainly be way more interesting than that, but build it that way. Build it in protein, fat, and fiber. There's very few times when I have a hard time getting fat because I love all the fats. I love nuts, I love seeds, I love avocado, I love salmon, I love oil. So I never really have to struggle with my fat. The one that I have to think about the most is my fiber. And that's why I have things like the cabbage slaw and the broccoli slaw and the vegetables, because that's my main source of fiber is vegetables. I don't eat a lot of beans, which are a great source of fiber. I do like hearts of palm, and I also love chia seeds. Well, I talked about nuts and seeds, but that's one of my go-to. And I got away from my chia seeds, but I got back into it. And then tip number 9 is just stop listening to all the noise. Stop listening to all the noise. Really, there's so much information out there. What I'm telling you right now, as simple as it is, as boring as it is, it's monotonous. I've been saying the same things over and over again, but it really works. And that's not to say you can't have ice cream and you can't have your favorite dessert and you can't have a drink or you can't have chips or you can't, but this is your main style of eating. This is how you eat most of the time. When you're incorporating those other things into your diet, they're the other 20%. And I'm going to be totally honest, you guys, I eat something that's not on the healthy list every single day, but it's portioned. Like if I'm going to have potato chips, I have a small bag of sweet potato chips. If I'm going to have a sweet, I have a Skinny Cup, or I have 3 Bichards, or 2 cups of kettle corn, or I have those things every single day. I don't eliminate them from my diet. I think that would backfire, but I have to be discretionary about them. I don't have all of them all at once. If I know I'm going to be having a meal out, I try to really front load my protein now. I think about that more than anything, just because it feels like at restaurants, it is harder to get your protein. We've been traveling a lot for games, and I literally just bring like hard-boiled eggs or chicken or a bag of vegetables. Even though I'm going to eat out too, it's just that way I know that I won't eat a lot of other stuff just to fill up. So those are some tips around creating your forever style of eating. Plan for cheat meals. And if you screw up, who cares? Get back on track. Don't let one bad meal. I did this the other day. I came home. I was starving. I came home from Costco and it was like closer to 1. I had an appointment, and then I might as well go while I'm out. And I knew I was going to be off on my eating, but I came home and I think I made salmon. I cooked the salmon, I ate the salmon. And then I was like, I'm still hungry. And then I was eating like nuts and not measuring them and just eating like a ton of pecans. So it always backfires. Not eating always backfires. You always end up eating more, and you always end up not feeling great. You just don't digest your food as well, I feel like. So whenever I go beyond the time I typically eat my meal and then eat after, I do feel like it backfires. And again, don't be too strict. Being too strict backfires too. If you tell yourself, if you were like, I'm only going to eat 1,200 calories, you're going to go back into that pantry. You're going to be hungry. I made this mistake for years, being hungry, not eating enough backfires, because you feel like you're doing good and you have that meal with 300 calories, which is not enough for me in a meal. I need closer to 500. And then I eat something else and eat something else. I'd rather just eat 500 calories and enjoy every bit of it and put it on a plate and not be so strict. I feel like being strict backfires. And tip number 10 is going back to where we started about the assessments. Hire a coach, a trainer, accountability partner, somebody. If this is something that's really important to you, get accountability with it. We have nutrition coaching at KBC that is excellent. You can do individualized coaching. I know right now my community is looking forward to Amy's Salad Challenge. There's always an opportunity, and we will create an opportunity. Timing is everything. If you feel like this is the time for you where you need something extra, let us know. We will come up with something. I'm happy to consult. That's what I do, like a one-on-one assessment. I'm happy to do that. I mentioned that in the beginning. If you're looking for change, and if you feel like you're the type of person that can just get the information and then go do it, but I'm here to tell you, those are rare birds, guys. Those are rare, rare birds. You need accountability beyond that. In fact, right before I got on this call, I messaged everybody from April, because we have our accountability program for the InBody, those that get on the InBody every month. By the way, I'm going to be doing a half-year sale where I'm offering that up again if you're interested in that. But the numbers on that were pretty amazing. I think it was like 60% had done all 4 months. They had already done it without even me messaging them. Then there were some people that had gone away for April. This is the month where I know now the patterns. I see the patterns. This is the month where people got off, especially because spring break was the first week of April. So then they wanted to give themselves a little bit of time to clean up for spring break. And now it's April 10th and they haven't done it yet. Happens. It's okay. Just get on it now. Because if you don't do it now, then you're going to be like, oh, I might as well just wait till May. And then you missed a month, and we don't want to miss a month. Okay. And we want to save that for an emergency situation. So I know that this is repeat information, but I still think it's the most valuable information you can hear. I want you to take action from something that you heard today, and I want you to share it with me. Thank you guys so much for listening, and keep showing up for this podcast. I think just hearing this stuff, having it in your ear is helpful for you. I'm looking for guests. I want to talk to more people about their journeys, what they're working on. I feel like that is the most helpful thing for our community, is to hear about other people. So if you're a listener, you would be an excellent guest. Please reach out. I'd love to have you on. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.